SMSF commercial investments. As an investor, the self-managed super fund is also a vehicle that you could use to look at investing in property and really have more flexibility of where you may look to invest and what you're looking to do with that money. Now, it's very important, massive disclaimer, this is completely general and not personal advice for you. You should consider chatting to your accountant, your mortgage broker, advisors regarding the self-managed super fund and how you want to put that together. But what I'm going to mention here is something that I've been seeing that's quite popular and quite a significant difference maker. Now, as we all know, and if you don't know, now you'll get an opportunity to understand, but self-managed super fund lending has taken a big hit over the last couple of years. And how it's taken a big hit, yes, even whilst it's been cheap for interest rate, is the fact that lenders have been stopping their activity in the space. Now, when less competitors are there, there's less reasons for someone to be competitive. Imagine you're going, look, you only get ice cream, chocolate or vanilla, and everything's just about chocolate or vanilla, right? Like, there's no other flavors, there's no other things that have to make people consider the prices, consider options, what they give to the consumer. It's just, which one do you want, right? And you get stuck, and you might sometimes have a flavor you like a lot, but then you might go, I'm getting bored of that, I have to try something else. A similar thing can happen with finances and SMSF. You've got one or two banks, maybe two or three, they throw it out, and you can't do much about it. You've got to have one of those too if you want that super fund loan. And so when you're looking at that gets dangerous for you because you won't realize that those rates, fees, charges, they're not in your control. Not that they ever were, but you had more control with more competition because you could move business to where you need to. So what that's meant is a lot of traditional investments like residential property and a few other things, they may still have their returns and capital growth and all these factors, but the cash flow is getting hurt more than ever. And I'm not just talking about at low yield or high yield properties. You could have some very solid yields, but you could be hurt significantly just because of the lending in SMSF. So when you're going through SMSF, what can commercial property do? Now, firstly, when you're seeing interest rates like 5.5%, 6%, you're like, oh my God, that's heavy, right? But in the commercial world, it's quite common to see net yields of 6.5%, 7% upwards. So if you start seeing these yields that are higher than all this lending, and then if the bank is capping you with your lending at say 60, 65%, like, on a 400K property at some of these yield levels, you could have upwards of 10 or 11,000 in cash flow per annum, right? Even with those high interest rates and even that sort of rental yield, and with a 400K property, if they're asking you to put maybe 35% down, talking 160 to 180K in total funds usage, right? Depending on the state, the property, and how you go into it. So when you're starting to consider self-managed super fund, if you've got that gap in cash flow that's so strong, if you've got a property on, even if you wanted to do it principal and interest or interest only, whatever it may be, you start having this cash flow, getting rid of this loan over time, and in roughly 11 to 12 years, assuming that the rates have not gone up or your tenant's not vacant or things have just been humming along on that lease, you could start seeing someone completely pay off your loan. So you've gone from a 10 to 12K in cash flow positive, and if you decide to keep it on P&I or interest only and have it come in, you could suddenly have people or your tenants pay off a complete properties loan for you in 11 to 14 years. Now, then you start having a property that you put 35%, maybe 40% if you include costs down, but you've got 100% of the value and you cash flow the whole time throughout it. So this is where SMSF commercial investing can be very powerful, but with a long-term view, and that's obviously why your self-managed super fund was set up for your long term. So consider all your partners, your team around you, your accountant, speak to them about the particular advice. Each particular property will differ, your entity structure, the state you go into, but in this world where self-managed super fund lending and actual funds to get is not as easy or simple, commercial cash flow and commercial property can be a big advantage.